You have selected shuffle.
Welcome to the Shuffle Pod. I'm Woody.
Hey, I'm George.
I'm DJ.
And I'm Jeff.
Sorry, we feel like we're rushing, but Google's decided to put the fuck knuckle on us.
The fuck knuckle.
Fantastic.
They really have.
Yep.
Yeah, they're trying to hold us down, you know?
It's the man.
It's big corporation trying to
Big corp. I like that. Let's not say corporation, it's big corp.
Big corp.
Yeah,
like
monopolies.
So how's everybody doing real quick since we can't talk long?
I got my second COVID shot yesterday.
Oh, how you feeling?
I'm better today. I wasn't as bad as I was with the first one. The first one really just knocked me down.
Didn't you get it Friday?
Yeah, I got it Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, yesterday I was just like I said, off and on. You know,
I know Woody's private medical information.
Thank you. I was going to say, there's no HIPAA law when it comes to you two.
Absolutely not.
Woody's on DJ's insurance.
Allegedly.
Did you get that cream for the rash?
Yes, I did.
Good. I'll put more on later.
Okay.
They were so happy when Obama let the queers join each other.
Oh my God.
Dude, speaking of that, when I was going to get my shot the other day, there was this older couple because I went to a CVS and
older than
they
you?
were getting their prescriptions filled and stuff. And the guy's complaining about how he has to go with like the mail order pharmacy that his insurance, does and that. And he's go through this whole big spiel about it and that, and finally he's like, wasn't like this until Obama got in there. And I'm like, mother, the guy's been out of office for how long now, and it's still
5
thanks
years.
Obama.
Still Obama's fault. It will always be Obama's fault. Remember that, because these people are too fucking stupid to pay attention. That's how it works. No offense, George. I wasn't talking about you.
Absolutely
cool. No offense taken.
Now he's wondering, should I have been offended?
Right.
I was like, yes. God, what did they say?
No, you shouldn't.
They so smart. Boys.
What?
Now, I didn't tell you
I'm anxious.
I didn't tell you what was going to happen on this, okay? But I'm going to ask each individual one of you, okay? And we'll go from there. All right, I'm going to ask Woody. I'm going to ask you first, okay? And then you give me your answer, and we're going to talk about it as a group. And then we're going to go through each one quickly, okay? Because Google, Woody, when I ask you the question, when is enough enough? What is the first thing that pops in your mind?
I think of like how much can I like with my kid, like someone's messing with me, like where's the line? And the line's like my kid. When if they start like messing with me, whatever, I'll put up with. But you start to mess with my kid, and that's enough's enough, and that's where I draw the line.
So that's like
right.
That's the biggest thing.
Crap out of my
you.
wife,
That's
no. Yeah, that's where I draw the line.
Okay.
So
the word enough is enough. That's what it means to you.
Yeah.
So every single one of us has children on this panel. Okay.
Yep.
And when I asked, you know what? I don't want to ask this because it's going to taint it. All right. So with children, when is enough enough? With each one of us, it's going to be different.
One is enough.
Yes.
DJ told me that when I got married. He said, have one.
I did not.
He did so.
I'm shaking my head.
I did not say that at all.
Yeah.
I forgot. As I'm shaking my head, I realized that we're also recording the video.
I believe the quote was, you have one kid, you got babysitters lining up. As soon as you have two, everybody's busy.
Yep.
And that's what I said.
Well, no, there's a lot of truth to that, I think.
There's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
You got
My wife
two
hates
sets
you
of
for that.
grandparents fighting over that one child all the time. Like, I'll take him. And then as soon as you have two, they're like, we're kind of busy tonight.
Boy, it's Mom and I are going to bingo. We're trying that out for a day. So I think with children, when's enough is huge. It's like for each one of us, it's just a tipping point. I know that. I know it definitely is for me and stuff.
Now, is this when is enough? Is that what we all took? Like, were you
That's what I
talking
took
about
from it.
children?
Because
What's that?
when George sent out the text message, like that's what automatically just popped into my head. That was the first thing I thought of. Was
Exactly.
Like, you know, where do I draw the line? You can mess with me as much as you want, but you know, that's where I draw the line.
I apologize. I forgot to mute.
Enough is enough for me. Is George blowing his nose into the microphone?
Now I know. Now I
just
only
got
have
that
I also forgot we're on
on camera.
video as
Yeah,
well.
I've got to edit the video and the audio for that one.
All right, so Jeff, what did that mean to you then?
Well, enough
when you said it?
to me is like it's all I'm gonna take as far as pretty much anything like work, people, anything. Like, where do I draw the line? I didn't have a specific in mind, but like, all right, how much are you going to take from any given situation? For me, I kind of thought about like work. I just left my previous job, 9 months ago because I got to that point. I'm like, nope, that's enough. I'm done. I'm not dealing with that anymore. So that's kind of what I think.
I guess like without going into complete detail as to what exactly they did, what transpired that made you go, that's it, I'm done?
Well, that's easy. And I mean, I don't have to be shy about it because I called the owner of the company and told him one-on-one, talked to him one-on-one about this. Basically,
so did you have an exit interview?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It was, fuck you, I'm gone. Basically. No, I did not have an exit interview. I was just making that joke. But yeah, the reason I left is because what kicked it off was COVID hit. We all took a 5% pay cut. Our
that's a biggie, man.
401k profit or matching was cut. So that's 11% of my income gone. Then they hired 20-some new high-paid people, like higher than me, 20-something of them, right? For higher positions, which means, all right, they cut everybody's pay but hired new people that cost more than the pay they cut. So that was like, I don't get it. And they're like, they gave me the bullshit excuses, whatever, it's fine. Then my manager for the engineering team moved up in the company, which is great for him. Great for everybody, actually, because he was doing good things. But the guy that replaced him was a complete fucking asshole. Like, one of these managers that we had just gotten all these new steps in place to streamline how everything was working, made it better. It was so much better. He immediately came in, shit-canned everything. Whatever I say goes kind of deal. Told us we were going to start working 7/12. So I was like, yep, fuck you, I'm out of here. Done. Like,
Well, that's illegal, but go ahead.
Yeah, I know it is, but that was just his mentality. That was
it's not illegal.
No, it is illegal. Unless you sign on, you cannot be forced to work overtime. It is actually a labor relations. I've looked it up before. I've actually had companies cited for that by the Labor Relations Bureau.
To have your
Woody and I right now are just like, hold on.
Right.
What?
Right. Because I've been on 12-hour days since February.
Well,
that's because you agreed to it.
Yes, but you have But Woody, do you have a regularly scheduled day off?
No. No, you don't. You worked 7 days tons of times here recently.
Right,
Tons.
right. But did they schedule me a day off and then cancel it to make me come in and work overtime? Yes, absolutely. But before, like, if I look at my schedule says I work from 7 to 3:30. What I actually work is I go in at 5:30 in the morning and I work until we're done, which is Friday was 7:30 at night, 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, sometimes it's 8 o'clock. I know this because he calls me on the way home.
Every day.
It talks about you need to get off my insurance.
Well,
I swear to God.
when he calls me home, I'm at work. I'm going in after this. Like, I work just about every day too.
Well, I know you have to have, the law states you have to have 8 hours between your shifts.
Right.
Yeah,
So you
and
can work a
normally that
16-hour a
works.
day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
But
it.
there is also legislation that limits the days that you work.
What about if you're volunteering it?
No,
There's-
okay, now that's different.
That's different because there's some guys at my work that volunteer. They'll work 2 straight weeks of 16s.
And
They don't do what I do. They're out on the floor, but there's lots of guys that do that. One in particular.
And that's how most companies get away with it. They claim mandatory overtime, and people come in and they're like, "Oh yeah, well, whatever." And then the employers go, "Well, we said it was overtime, and they offered to come in," kind of deal. But legally, anything over 8 hours a day, you have to agree to. Have to.
I do not. I think you're completely and totally wrong about that.
I have called Labor Relations Bureau. They have sent people in, and they have cited and fined companies for this on my behalf.
See, that's the difference between private sector and the public
Yep.
sector.
Public
Okay.
sector's not like that at all.
The working for the public, okay, and with us having a union, that's why unions were formed. That's one of the reasons unions were formed,
Right.
is because now here's the other thing then, okay, in the private sector, if you don't adhere by what they're doing, they just get rid of you and they make up a reason, okay.
Yeah.
They lie
And
about
to
it.
fight that and to win and get your job back, most workers aren't going to do that.
Yep.
Okay, which also falls into a when's enough, you know. Way back in the day when labor unions were just starting, workers decided that enough was enough, you know, and that made them move, you know, to having a labor union and you know, like bylaws that would tie and hold workers, the actual employer, accountable to human rights and stuff like that. So I mean,
Yep.
and in essence, that was. Are you in a union, Woody, or no?
Yes. Yeah. Teamsters.
Okay.
And they're negotiating a contract right now, and that's why I have a hard time believing this, because they're talking about trying to limit some of the overtime. And if it was a matter of personal choice, it wouldn't even be a negotiating factor.
No, but what
These
Jeff was
lawyers
saying,
that we hire to defend, you know, to support our side would absolutely know this. And
They
say,
do
Jeff
know
is-
it. They're
what
not
Jeff is
negotiating for
saying-
your side. They're negotiating for their portion of
No,
the new
the
deal.
lawyers that the Teamsters hire.
I know, and they're going to get some money from this, because if they don't get a deal, they don't get paid. So they're
Well,
negotiating
and-
with your time to get their cash. They don't give a
and
shit
what
about
Jeff
you.
was saying at the beginning was, we signed on for this when we
Yes.
accepted our jobs.
And that's what your union is doing. They're signing on for as much hours as they want to give you to get whatever they're going to get. And that's it. It's not, you have no choice. Your union does. Your union is failing you, to go to George's point. This is why we created unions in the first place. And now they're failing us by doing stupid shit like this, like yours is.
I would have to do some research on this. I don't believe that I can just say no.
You can't.
you-
You signed. You
You're-
agreed to overtime when you accepted your job.
Yeah, technically, maybe.
Yes and no, to an extent. I mean,
It's
But
No, no,
that's
no,
also
I
that's
tried to
also
mute
what
it.
George.
It's all right.
That's also what George was saying was, yeah, you don't have to maybe legally,
right.
But
See, even George can't
but-
swallow this.
yeah, but your George's what your company's going to do is if you
They're just
start
gonna fire you.
refusing all the overtime, they're
Right.
just going to say, well, he didn't have his safety such and such on when he was
Right.
doing this. He's done.
Yeah.
So the reason why we have
No.
right to work states, which really means right to fire you at any given time, is because of this. This is the reason. You don't want to work the hours they tell you you have to work. Legally, tell them that you're not coming in. They will find any reason to fire you because they can. And you sign on to that just by living in a right to work state.
Uh-huh.
It's illegal, but they do it. They know it's illegal, so does the government, but they can't do anything about it because they've already made laws. that
I was
circumvent it.
talking to a guy at work about this, and he kept saying, "Was they're in the union out on the floor, and I'm not." And he kept saying like, well, you're not in the union. They can fire you at any point. And I was like, they can fire you at any point. And he's like,
Right.
no, they can't. I'm in the union. I said,
Doesn't matter.
every time you go down and change a mold, you don't wear your protective sleeve that you're supposed to wear over your arm.
Right.
If they want to fire you, they'll point that out. They don't want to fire you, so you're good. But if you do something to piss them off, they'll call that as a reason, because the union can't fight that because you're not wearing your PPE.
Right.
You know, so I mean, you have no argument. There's always something you forget. You do fireable offenses every day.
I'm absolutely sure. I completely understand your point, but I don't think that we're the ones figuring this out. Like, if that was the law, that I only had to work 8 hours a day, my scheduled 8 hours, not no mandatory overtime, then people would have figured this out by now, and they would have been just then the way the company works, it wouldn't work. Like my job is until done.
Yes, it would work because they could hire 2 shifts.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is like that they wouldn't be able to do it the way they're doing it right now. Like they wouldn't be able to do your job is here until done. They would have to have another shift coming in behind you to fill.
But that is the way your union scheduled stuff. I know that because on the floor at my job, they can't make you work more than your 8 hours. That's in the union contract. They can ask you, they can mandatory you for Saturday, but not Sunday. And they can ask you to work another 4 hours or a double, but you don't have to. I'm in salary. If they want me to stay for 12, I have to stay for 12. So I know that the union contract, the union is the one who structured that. So your union could structure it that way if they wanted to.
And it's a give and take thing though, Woody. I mean, how much are you willing, because you're profiting from that, okay? You're profiting from that overtime that you're working, but do they have you?
Yeah, so quit whining.
I mean, do they actually have you working 7-12s a day?
Yeah, at times.
Yeah,
he's done it many times over the last few months.
Yeah, I very rarely work less than 12 hours a day.
I was gonna say, you worked 1 10-hour day the other day, and it was almost like you were getting out at lunch.
Honest to God, yeah. It felt like I was a half day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he stopped by my house when he was doing the deal a couple weeks ago, and he's like, "Well, I told him I'm making this much money. If you don't let me go,
yeah,
too bad.
You gotta pay me the money that I'm."
Right.
I was selling a house.
Right. I didn't want to go there.
To transfer the title, and I had to go meet this guy to sign the paperwork to transfer the title, and it was like, listen, I have to get this done. If you want me to stay here, pay me for what I would have made for selling the house.
Okay,
pay me $75,000.
Right.
Okay, now wait a minute then, Woody. What did they say to you?
They let me go because, well,
enough was enough.
I'm a good
they
worker,
let you go,
and I put in all this extra time. So, and they cannot afford to lose me at this point.
Right.
Wait.
I couldn't either, baby.
I know.
Did they let you go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Honestly, I never got approval to go.
But you don't need approval at certain points. So if you said, I'm not coming, I gotta go because I'm selling this house, I won't be able to do this time. What did you do? You said, I'm not voluntarily staying to work the overtime.
I guess.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I get. Yeah. I mean.
I guess if you boil it down to the
yeah.
If you did
aspects.
do it, honestly, then if you did do it every single time, they said, Woody, we need you to stay.
Yeah.
Okay. If you were like, no, they could get you for insubordinance because you legally can work certain amounts of overtime, but there are labor relations, standards that are in your favor, but it is all based on, is it really worth walking away from an X amount of dollar job at this point in time?
Right.
Because you are making what you're making. You know what I mean?
But yeah,
right.
if you'd have went to your union when you were doing all those 712s and told them why I don't want to do 712s, your union probably would have stood up for you there.
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
they would have forced them to do something. They either make 2 shifts or get just a few more people into that department
Right.
to ease the load, so you weren't there for
Well,
12 to done. You know,
And they are. I mean, they're trying to do that, but like they put job bids up for my department.
they'd
And
hire off the
people
street
were
if they had to.
people were awarded those job bids, but they never moved them.
Well, yeah. Then,
So I'm still
You-
stuck doing the.
so
Let
your
me-
union should have forced them to move them.
Now, your union only forces them to move them when somebody goes and
Files a
files
grievance.
a grievance.
Yeah.
And if they don't, if somebody contacts the union, that's the thing is if you have a contract, okay, that's your contract, okay, and everything it says in the contract, like we have in ours that they can't deviate our schedule unless it's mutually agreed upon or an exigent circumstance, okay.
Mhm.
An exigent circumstance is not so and so called, that we excuse me, someone called off and they're now saying we need you to come in Saturday to cover this. That's your RTO. Everybody's entitled to an RTO. All right, a regular time off is what our RTO stand for. You are entitled to that.
Well, I think you have a stronger union than I do.
but that's your
Probably.
fault then.
Right.
You're right. Not
Okay.
my fault
Not your
personally,
fault.
but
No, and that's I'm not saying it's your fault, Woody. But as a body, that's your guys' fault
Right.
because
You're
you're paying into that union. You should make that union work for you.
Well, how does
And
it
that's
work
why-
in a non-union job?
I'm sorry.
I'm not a union. I don't have a union, but you guys are saying I am entitled to, a certain time off under labor laws. How does that work for me?
Well, with you, and I'm not well versed in salary, okay? For you, it would be slightly different because they're saying we're going to pay you this much. And if you signed a contract saying you'll work for this amount of money, I don't know if that differs from what you, because you're a
I'm
fiduciary.
salary
employee.
non-exempt, so I get paid overtime. I
Oh.
get my base salary, and then everything over 40 hours a week is overtime, plus Sundays are double time.
Well, aren't you
And-
fancy?
Well,
So-
and I think then that is your compensation, possibly.
Right.
That could be your compensation to say, I'm agreeing to work whatever
Okay.
needs to be done. That's just me guessing.
No,
Okay.
that's
I'd have
pretty
to look
accurate.
into-
That's close.
Okay.
I'm salary
I
exempt.
was going to say that's
So,
probably the same.
I get no overtime. If I work 50 hours, 60 hours a week, I still get paid for my base 40. All right. So, but our work week is 45 hours, right? 9 hours a day, whatever. Since I'm remote, the nice thing is I don't eat lunch. I just snack at my desk. So I get an hour less a day than most people.
Woody
because-
has had enough.
He's out. That was it. That's where he draws the line. But I work from their time 7:30 till 5, which is 8:30 to 6 here. They work their time 7:30 to 6 or so. So I take, instead of taking an hour for lunch, I use that hour as my time. But if I work overtime, I'm not getting paid anymore. But I can pretty much just get up and go whenever I want. Like if I have to leave and do something in the middle of the day, I just walk away. There's nothing they can do because that's the agreement we have. I just send an email, say, hey, I got to go do this. As long as I'm hitting my hours, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Well, and that's the thing is there's a give and take, and a lot of reason why unions were formed is because it was a give,
Right.
and the business or the corporation just took, and they'll take, and because here's the thing, and the bottom line is, it is scary as hell to look at. Woody, hypothetically, let me just, you don't have to say what you make, but let's just hypothetically say you're making $75,000, okay?
Huh.
When you have when you have a family that's relying on your income, it's hard as hell to go double middle
Right.
fingers and just walking away going, you know
Yeah.
what, screw you, I am going home. Okay. And that's how these businesses and stuff have met up and went, no, you're going to do what we say because
And they
you
know
need
they have
this
you by the
job more
balls.
than you need
Yeah.
this job more than you need a day off.
That's
what
why businesses run credit reports on you. They want people with bad credit. They want people backwards on their bills and cars and houses because they know that they have you by the balls.
Yep.
They don't want your spouse to work. That's why they charge fees to have your wife on your insurance if she's working. They don't want your spouse to work. They want everyone to rely on you so that they can do whatever they want to you and you have to do it.
And to see that Jeff actually. Now let me ask you this, Jeff. Before I commend you, did you have another position? Did you have another position lined up, or did you just blankly walk away?
So the first one where I had the labor relations called on them, I did not, and I knew it was going to be backlash because there was only one person who was putting up a stink, and that was me. But that turned out pretty well because I ended up getting like a phone call right after this happened from a previous employer, and they wanted me back to do some work. I'm like, yep, I'll be there. That's cool.
The Lord works in mysterious ways. Am I right, DJ?
But
sounds like God.
The last time at the place I'm at, I was in the process of talking to the company I'm at now, but I didn't get a definite yet. So I was like, well, fuck it. I mean, but I was looking. I knew I was going. There was no, I don't know how to put, other than I knew this was the next step because there was absolutely no way I was staying at this company. I was already there. I'm like, and you can even ask my kid. I was at the point where I'm like, you know what? I'll live off my 401k until I get a new job. I'm out.
Put her on. I want to ask her.
She's still sleeping. She's 14. Come on. It's not 3 o'clock in the afternoon yet.
So I think like that is outside of our family. Our work is our hardest thing to walk away from. I would think. Oh, I know it is for me. You know.
I could absolutely. I'm financially secure enough right now that I could absolutely just walk away from this job.
Woody could have a job by the end of our show.
Yeah,
right. A phone call.
So
because he has a CDL and he could just go over the road and start tomorrow.
And that's just how his life is. He lived with Justin and I in Cleveland, and he worked at this mattress company, and we get home one day and he's just chilling on the couch with a beer or something, and he's like, yeah, I quit my job today. And we're like, oh man, what are you gonna do? He's like, no, I walked 10 feet and got another one. We're like, what? He literally walked out of one store into the next one and got a job.
I did that once.
I'm like, what the I'm like, it would take me months.
I did that one time, but he's in a unique situation right now with the CDL and 10 years of driving experience.
Oh yeah,
he can go get a job. I mean, he might not be able to name his company.
Right.
He can't say I want to go to UPS and work.
Right, and he might get stuck with something over the road that he's not looking for. But he could always.
But he could pay his bills.
Oh yeah, exactly.
He could look while he's doing that.
Right.
You know? So he's in a spot where you really can't push him around as far as that goes because you really could leave.
But what keeps me there every day is that like I work with other people that because we work until our job is done, they would have to do everything they're doing and then everything I would have done if I walked out.
So blind loyalty,
right?
And there's nothing wrong with blind loyalty. Please,
but your company sets it up that way,
right? Absolutely. I mean,
so you are loyal to the feelings of the people that you work with, okay? Plus, oh my God, if I don't do this, what if they get rid of me?
Right.
And that's what makes it so hard to walk away from something.
So, George, I've got a question, actually. Is this where you were planning for this show, or did we just get off on a tangent that just happened
this
to be...
This is completely fine.
Because that's... I mean, I don't know where we were going, but this is a good... It actually
when I heard...
No. What I'll do is I'll ask DJ next.
Oh,
I'll take gotcha. Okay.
The 30-minute mark.
No, this is fine.
Hello, I'm here.
Because, and I'll explain right after why.
No, I get
why I actually got on this tangent, this topic. Okay. Have we wrapped up the work thing?
Yeah.
DJ, what is it for you?
When I heard is enough and when is enough, the first thing that popped into my head was
bar fight.
No, it was not to sound like Bernie, but it was income inequality. It was, when is enough enough? Lately in the news, we've had one billionaire go to space, another one
2.
about to go to space.
No, I thought he already went.
Did Bezos go as of right now?
I think you're right. You're right. They were.
Yeah.
He's getting ready.
But, and my wife read me this thing online. It was like, tell the kids of today, if you study real hard in school, get good grades, go to a really good college, work a lot of hours, and blah, 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 went on and on and on. One day your boss can go to space.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's true. And it's not even your boss. It's your boss's 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 boss. That's how far apart things are. And when is enough enough?
It's basically
that's where I took it.
The man in the Iron Castle. That's the guy that's going to space.
Yes.
Exactly.
And that's what I took when you said, when is enough enough? I took it as, how much are normal people going to get shit on so 1% of the world can live like royalty?
See, and here's the thing though, and I completely see where you're coming from, DJ, but under no circumstances am I going to tell you, nope, you're wrong, okay? Because that's not what it means. I deliberately sent the text out and I asked each one of you to think about this, and I can see where you're coming from. Yeah. Now, the difference is America is supposed to be the land of opportunity. You want to run, you want to start an Amazon, you start it, okay? But the thing that holds us back is, in my opinion, as a society, is that fear of, I can't walk away from this.
Yep.
$75,000. I can't walk away from something that's insuring my insurance and the roof over mine and my family's head. That's terrifying. As middle-aged people right now, we're all approaching middle age. Okay.
Right.
That's fucking terrifying.
It's terrifying and it's
niche. Right.
It's terrifying and it's wrong. You're not wrong. I'm saying it's the wrong idea, because everywhere else in the world, your insurance isn't tied to your job.
Right.
But
we do that here to hold us hostage.
And you're absolutely
It's supposed
correct.
to be the land of opportunity, but we're the farthest thing from it, because you and me, all of us, we can't just quit to go start a company. We can't. Yep. We just can't. If we lived in Germany, we could, because we'd be insured.
You make just enough, no matter how much you make. Okay.
Yeah,
now there's that level where you go, I've got fuck you money. Okay. Yeah. You make just enough, and you carve out your life. You're carving out of your lifestyle is living just below your means. Okay. Ideally, you're supposed to live just below your means, so you have enough for a rainy day. Okay.
Yeah, but that's not what people do. They live just above their means.
Well, and that's the thing. Sorry, most people can't afford to live just below their means anyway. They don't make enough to live, let alone live below those means.
Yeah.
Well, and
we were all there once, I'm sure.
And even the way I took when is enough, that actually, the whole income inequality, that ties exactly into what you guys both thought. Well, not Woody's was, but it ties into what Jeff's was. It ties into the careers, it ties into the hours, it ties into everything, because okay, I work anywhere between 50 to 65 hours a week. You know who doesn't do that? Anybody above me.
Right.
Anybody above me. Nobody works more than 40. That's above me.
See, that's something that I respected about the company I left when I first started with you guys here. Was I didn't really want to leave that company, but I got an offer for a remote position, and I said if I could work from home and be here with my kid, which, like Woody said, I mean, what's enough? Yeah. My kid is more important than anything else. I would have taken a pay cut just to be here for her all the time. So the thing about them was, when I got there in the morning, the boss was there. When I left at night, the boss was there. Both of them. So they worked their asses off because they bought the company and were doing everything to push it.
And mine is the opposite.
Right.
Mine is like, he'll tell me, we got this really important project we got to do. It's got to be done over the weekend because it's got to be
all
done
hands
by
on
Monday
deck.
Morning.
Yep.
He's used that word once. All hands on deck. And then he's like, this was Thursday, and then he's like, I'll see you Tuesday. I'm off Friday and Monday, and he walks out.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going golfing in Florida for the weekend.
Right.
And you're like, what do you mean all hands on deck?
He's not ultra rich, but like he had vacation in.
Right.
And you have vacation in, good for him.
Right.
He's allowed to use it, but it's just like all hands on deck. I'll see you. I have 4 days off right now. I'll see you, Tuesday.
And that's frustrating.
Yeah.
I imagine. See, okay, I work in I work in a situation that we just can't close a jail, you know, and either A, let these guys live by their own merits for, 8 hours a night or whatever.
Sounds like a good idea.
It does. But, it's so that situation is different. But it's when somebody tells you all hands on deck, normally in the private sector, I guess, and that doesn't mean all hands. It means
The little
working.
hands.
Right.
I'll see you later.
It means
Yeah,
Right.
we're going to
the
rely on
tiny
you to get
hands
that
on
done.
deck.
So,
But here's my thing with this is we talk about we talk about this about how it's just like the 1% and they're living like the amazing lives and that going to space and all that stuff. But look at some of these third world countries. Those people wish they could live like we live, like we are what their 1% is living like.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's the majority of our country.
right.
that is third world countries.
Right, but that's the majority of the world.
Well,
No, it's
no,
not. No,
I
it's
don't
not.
believe it
It's-
is.
no.
Because
I would think it would be because look
No.
at like the largest countries in the world, like India, Africa, or the countries of Africa. I mean, not very many of them are very financially stable, but
No, but most of them aren't third world countries.
Could say
They're like ours. Like they're not the richest, but they're still advanced
I-
enough to have big cities. Most of
Yeah.
them.
right,
Africa's
big
a
cities, but-
huge,
but the
huge
majority
continent.
of people in this world are living way less than we are, on way less than we are. All those
right,
people
just
right,
based
no, that's
on
true.
China,
In China,
just
in
based on
India.
China, yes. If you take just one country, China, then yes, you're absolutely correct. Because
Okay, what about
they-
India? What about Russia?
Well, but
what
that's
about a lot of these African nations? I mean,
look. Here's the thing: the United States is a special, like it was built by revolutionists and very, radical people. Okay, and so yes, they formed a country. And have there been other countries that have formed, like changed their government to kind of mirror what the United States do? Absolutely. And the ones that have, the vast majority of them, you look at France, Sweden. Is there shitholes in Sweden? Probably. There's probably a ghetto. There's a ghetto in every single,
Absolutely.
country
Is
that you
there a
go to.
Sweden, though?
But well, that's the thing. Is Sweden their shtick is we're going to stay neutral. We have socialized medicine, but they're a democracy.
Well,
And-
the neutral part, that's Switzerland.
That's Switzerland.
That's
and
I'm sorry. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
In Sweden, I guess would be somewhat the same. Nobody is ever like,
please fought
I
Sweden.
don't want to go to Sweden. That's one of those things where the third world countries are third world countries for a reason. They're the bottom of the bottom on
Right.
the social, like not the social structure, but the economic structure, I should say. And only the elite few in those areas are profiting off of the backs of the repressed, essentially,
Yeah, but
and
that's here too.
Right, I
Well,
was
no,
gonna say,
that's,
so
what,
the
that's
US.
what I'm saying.
and it is, and this is one of the things that flipped me into a tirade was people are saying, well, you can start a McDonald's for $13 an hour. And I'm like, okay, well then go. Yeah. I mean, that's to me, part of the thing that I enough is enough. Okay. Is I got tired of people somewhat comparing a position that they're in with McDonald's. You can start there and make $13 an hour. Well, then go do it.
People
That's the thing,
People
you know.
are.
But the problem is now is people don't want to work.
I don't.
Do you truly believe that?
I truly 100%
That's a
believe.
that's a
So,
talking point.
I'm so on the fence on this. I'm so on the fence on this.
Even my dad, who is the hardest working person that I know, when they went off due to the COVID, he even said, I can't. I'm not going to go back to work right now. I'm making more money staying home. And that is,
It's not people don't want to work. It's that people are sick of being undervalued.
Correct.
I don't want to go make $9 an hour anymore.
Right.
Fuck you. I'm actually getting a decent amount for the first time in my life. I'm getting a decent amount, and I'm off because the government's giving it to me.
Right.
And it's making people realize these companies can afford. They can afford to pay us more.
Right.
Walmart, McDonald's. Walmart did raise their pay. Not enough, in my opinion, but they raised their pay. But
they're paying $17, $18 an hour right now.
Some positions they are, yeah.
So here's the problem that a lot of people have, and it's one that kind of bothers me, but not so much anymore. It did when I was closer to the lower minimum wage.
Now that he's in his ivory tower.
No, I mean I'm nowhere near a upper middle class. I'm like middle class, right? So the thing that gets me, and it gets a lot of people, is when the minimum wage goes up, first thing that happens is inflation. No matter what you do, you're going to have it. And people are like, oh my God, your burger's going to cost $16. No, it's not going to go up that much. You think it's going to be a lot. It's not. But across the board, everybody's taking a pay cut when the minimum wage comes up. You can't not do that.
And you need a minimum wage. You need a middle, you know.
But the way it's supposed to happen is when the minimum wage goes up, everybody should get a raise to match. Everybody in the country. But that will never happen.
Now, my work actually gave us a 3% raise as salary when that happened, just a couple weeks ago.
Right.
But that was because people are getting real pissed off.
But you know what?
We had engineers leaving.
Right.
And
so you guys are hiring?
And this goes back to the work thing.
We are.
Okay. There were enough people that stood up and said enough is enough. And they gave you the 3% raise,
right,
to quell any animosity that you had. And that was it. Look, if you look at a 3% raise based on what you're making, and that's a significant amount of money, okay? Because inflation isn't, hopefully, not going up 3% a year. You know, you get a cost of living. When I retire, finally, when I will get between 1% and 3% a year, you know, on my retirement, my pension, okay?
Right.
Because that's a cost of living raise. Well, the cost of living raise is so that you can maintain the exact, in theory, it's so that you can maintain the exact lifestyle that you have.
Yeah, but inflation goes up. I think you just implied that inflation goes up slower than that. Inflation goes up faster than that. My dad was making, back when I was a kid, I saw my dad's paychecks and stuff and his W-2s. He was making what I was making a couple of years ago back in the 80s.
Right.
And we had enough where my mom had a job, but it wasn't like anything big. We went on a vacation every year. My mom and dad had two, each had a car. We didn't want for anything, like we were fine. Now I make what my dad was making in the 80s.
And in the 80s,
I haven't gone on a vacation.
There was a solid middle class.
Right.
And what's happened is the middle class in our country has been eroded down to you're either a have or you're a have not. Yep. Okay. In my opinion.
One day that money will trickle down to us though, George.
It will. You're absolutely correct.
Wonder what could have caused that downfall.
But even our middle class is barely middle class. I mean, like George said, you're either the haves or have-nots. Like, I live in an area where my side of the street is the have-nots, even though we're middle class. People on the other side of the street are the haves.
Well, you have a dirt yard right now. So.
Actually, I've got grass. I should have got a picture. I have my whole yard's grass now, except for like the bald spots where it just needs to fill in. It's awesome. But
that's nice.
Like the people across the street live in a different city, and they pay twice the taxes I do because they're the haves. And it's like, see, people don't get how they're being screwed by their employers, their, localities, whatever. And like George said, when's enough enough? When are we going to finally go, you know what? Let's fix this.
And you know what? I like that. Let's end part 1 and let's start part 2. Okay?